Hi, I'm Tash.
And I'm T.
And we're here to talk to you about everything from life's little hiccups to the big things you might be overthinking. And let's be real, it's probably not that deep, sis.
So grab your drink, get comfy, because we're giving it to you straight from the couch.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of It's Not That Deep, Sis, with the darlings on the couch, including Pig.
Piggy wiggies. Sorry, Pig.
You're on camera. Can you stop licking your paws? It's embarrassing.
You should have done your grooming routine prior to filming.
Excuse me.
Pig, say hello to the darlings.
Hi.
As always, before we get into the episode, we're going to share our I was today years old fact.
You go first.
Okay, mine's not a fact. Mine is more of a product rec because I feel like it needs to be put to the front of the show at the moment.
Okay.
So my product rec is, now I am going to butcher the pronunciation of the brand, but it's the Mario Badooshki. Badooshko?
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, Mario Badooshko.
Can I see it?
Badeshko. That's it.
Okay.
Mario Badeshko. Face spray.
I did see this in the bathroom.
Yeah, so specifically the aloe vera green tea one. So I bought it when I was going camping this weekend because I wanted something to keep me like my face like nice and moisturized and hydrated and fresh. And I've heard really good things about it, and you can get it from Mecca, and it's actually not that expensive. For like a big bottle, it's $24.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty good, like for like what you get.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that it did save my skin over this weekend.
In terms of like hydration or bacteria?
In terms of hydration.
Yeah.
So because it was not super hot where we were, but it was hot enough, and because of what we were doing, like going hiking and like sleeping conditions and stuff like that, and I wasn't like, obviously I didn't do my full like face cleansing routine at the end of the night. It just sort of kept my skin like feeling plump and hydrated, and it was even nice just when I got home. I got a little bit sunburnt, so I was just spraying it on my face
With the aloe vera, yeah.
Yeah, so it felt really good.
The bottle looks so familiar. Have you ever bought it before?
No.
Why does it look so... Because I saw it in the bathroom and I was like, oh, that's new, but I've also seen that before.
I think it's similar branding to the face spray that we had over in Europe. I think that's what it was. Yeah,
it's super cute though.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was so funny. I really like a hydrating mist. Like after we use that one over in Europe, it makes such a difference.
It makes a difference.
And Joe's mum, for her birthday, you guys had bought her at work the... that big kit
package
thing.
Yeah.
And in it had what I thought was a hydrating spray. And I was like, oh my God, I love this stuff so much. And she's like, well, why don't you give it a go? And so I sprayed it on my face. And as I sprayed it on my face, I realized it was body mist, not face mist. And so I sprayed perfume right onto my face, and I was in my mouth. I felt disgusting for like the rest of the afternoon. All right. So today's episode is titled, Are We Truly Ever Ready to Get Married? Mm-hmm. No. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. That's all for today's episode. So we're told not to get married until we're ready, but what does ready really mean? And depending on who you ask, it can look completely different. Anything from having financial stability, emotional maturity, healed attachment wounds, strong communication, aligned values, and somehow feeling completely sure. So I recently got married to my long-term partner of 10 years. And when people hear 10 years, some people ask, why did you wait so long to get married? On the other hand, Tiana and I both have friends who got engaged or got married after only knowing their partner for sometimes less than a year. And that's always met with some raised eyebrows. So it raises the question, are we really ever ready to get married, or are we just deciding that we're willing?
Yeah, I just want to bring up a really interesting point. So it's the first time in my life, and I feel like it's really speaks to getting a little bit older. But the other day I was at a friend's birthday and I was with my partner and we were asked if we were married. And it's the first time that's ever happened.
Really?
Yeah.
No one ever asked me if I'm married.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Because like I think now that you're almost 30 and I'm in my 30s, it is pretty it's pretty normal for people to be married to their significant other.
And I think also with the group of people that we were with, they were either, majority of them were engaged or already married, and there was 3 babies there.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's like
you're in that era of your life.
Era, yeah, it's
wild,
weird,
crazy.
So readiness is often framed as a finish line. Like one day you wake up and think, I'm healed, I'm confident, I've got my life together, now I'm ready to get married. But psychologically, readiness isn't necessarily about certainty, it's about capacity. So can you sit with discomfort instead of avoiding it? Can you take responsibility instead of becoming defensive? Can you repair after conflict instead of keeping score? I think a lot of people delay marriage not because they're unready, but because they're afraid. So that can be like fear of divorce, fear of choosing wrong, fear of losing independence, fear of repeating patterns they watched growing up. So especially if you come from a family that's broken homes, your parents are divorced, etc., etc.
Yeah. Or your parents hated each other.
And
they
stayed together.
Married. Yeah.
There is also so much pressure around timing. We sometimes have thoughts such as, I thought I'd be married by now. I don't want to fall behind and I don't want to waste time. But readiness isn't age-based or linear, and it isn't something you unlock by hitting a milestone. And being unmarried doesn't mean that you're unready either. Mm-hmm. So I think that, like what you were saying, you've been with your partner for 10 years, and some people probably did have the thought that, oh, you're not married because maybe you're unsure.
Yeah.
Or you're just not ready to get married.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. But it's just, it's an active decision that you're making.
100%.
That you just weren't getting married at that point
in time. And there's so many factors. And yeah, you can be ready and you can have capacity and you can want to get married. But it doesn't mean that you can just flick your fingers and do it. There's so many different competing factors to why people hold off to get married.
Yeah. So we are going to play a game called Before You Say I Do.
I love a game.
And what better person to ask or to play this game with than somebody who has recently just gotten married. So I'm going to present these questions to you and you're going to answer them to your best capacity.
Okay.
And see how you... There's no particular score.
Do I have to get a divorce
like that?
if I get this wrong?
But like we'll do a little reflection and see, if you were actually ready to get married.
Okay, bring it on.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready do you think you are to get married?
Ready? Well, I'm already married, so when I got married, I was 100% ready. Yeah.
What's the one thing you think will change the least after marriage?
Everything. It's a really strange concept. When you've been with someone for as long as Joe and I have been together, everyone keeps asking us, how's married life? And as much as it sounds really sad, I see it as a positive thing. And we're like, it's perfect, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Like nothing changes. And even if you hadn't been together for as long as Joe and I have, when you get married, really nothing should change. When you get married, it is literally just a piece of legal paperwork. I have legally changed my name, so that has changed. And I did that pretty much straight away. But other than that, nothing has really changed in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes the reason that question comes up is maybe way back when you didn't live together before, or a lot of people wait to have children before they to get married before they have children. So there might be other relationships where getting married really does change the dynamic. You now live with them, you're now trying for children, you join your finances. I think because Joe and I were already living like a married couple, nothing really changed.
Yeah. And I think that there's often a especially from older generations where you sort of met with a lot of questions of like, or not questions but statements of like of just when until you're married.
Yeah I hate it so much, and it is mainly the older generation. I haven't really gotten it from a lot of people my age, but that are you sure you want to go through with it?
Yeah.
It's going to be the end of the world, and it's normally targeted more at Joe than it is at me, and I just think it's a really sad view to have.
It is.
But for us, nothing is really, besides my last name, nothing's really changed.
Love it.
Yeah.
What do you think will be the hardest adjustments?
it's so hard. So once again, Joe and I have now been married for September, October, November, 3 or 4 months. Once again, I think what's probably going to be the hardest thing is what's next.
Yeah.
Because I think once you have gotten married, there's not only societal expectations of when are you going to have kids, or when are you going to do this, or whatever it might be. And that's something that you have to navigate with your partner on how you address those societal questions and concerns. But also it is a huge milestone. And when it takes up a lot of your time, especially if you do choose to have a wedding, the wedding took us 12 months to plan, and it took up all of our time. So now that we're married, it's going, okay, well, we've done that. What do we do next?
Yeah.
What's our next big goal?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing, but I think that's probably what's going to take up most of our time now.
Yeah, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
though.
100%. Yeah, a really
It's
good problem.
exciting. You're falling into the next era of your relationship in a way. How often do you think you'll argue once you're married?
All the time. Once again, I feel like because Joe and I have been together for so long, we have been through so many eras together. And at some point, so number one, you're going to argue with your significant other, whether you are married or not. And if you are someone like, we never argue, go fuck yourself, because it's not that like, I don't think arguing is bad. I think the bickering is bad and the things like that. But if you are two independent people who are in your 30s, you should have things that you do not agree on. There should be points of view that you go, I don't agree with that, and you can have a conversation or an argument about it. But because Joe and I have been through so much together, we've been through the times where we don't argue so much because things are easy breezy, cover girl, and then we've been through really difficult times and we argue a lot. And I think that once again, this question can sometimes come up in that people who get married really early on in their relationship, they may have not have faced anything that is going to put them in a position where they need to have difficult conversations, and therefore they feel like they're going to start arguing more now that they're married.
Yeah.
Once again, it has nothing to do with the marriage. It's just that when you are then committing your life to somebody, you are going to spend the rest of your life with them, which means that you're going to be facing all of these challenges, and therefore inevitably you are going to argue more.
Yeah. So and like you were saying, when you do get married, when you haven't been in a relationship for quite as long, and so the natural progression of your relationship is that you are going to run into things that you are going to disagree on and have difficult conversations regarding. But if you're mixing that in with also getting married, you sort of then see you're going to see a correlation of getting married equals having more difficult times in your relationship.
Yeah. Whereas Joe and I, before we got married, we bought a house. We have 2 dogs together. We have been through, career changes and family changes and friend changes.
And personal growth as well.
Personal growth. We've been through ups and downs in our finances. We've been ups and downs in our health. We did all of that pre-marriage, that if we do argue now, it's not like, we argue because we're married. We understand that we argue because we are going through life together, and life can sometimes fucking suck. And you are not always going to be on the same page, and therefore it can come across as disagreements.
Yeah. Do you think marriage will make you feel more secure or more pressured?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think I've never felt insecure in my relationship with Joe, but I think being married, I think it just solidifies that you are going to spend the rest of your life with that person. Yeah. And we have made a legal commitment to spend the rest of our lives together. However, so from that perspective, I think I'm going to feel more secure. Where I feel more pressure is coming back to that other question that I answered earlier, was that there's so many societal pressures that come after you get married, and especially I think for women, and that is going to be a really, really hard, specifically because Joe and I don't know if we want to follow the typical societal milestones, and therefore what comes next is going to be something that we're going to have to navigate together.
Yeah.
And that's going to be difficult.
Yeah. Do you believe love is enough when things get really hard? I think this is a really hard question.
That is a really good question, though. I think no. In the sense that it depends on how you define love. But I think that even when things don't get tough, every single day, you need to choose the person that you're with. As in, like, how do I explain this? So, especially because, once again, we've been together for so long, we've seen so many different versions of each other. And we've grown together, but we've also grown individually. And therefore, the person that you loved 10 years ago is a different person that you love now. So it's not just so much about love, it's about choosing to love that person.
Despite everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think love is enough, but I think it's also a choice. I think it's different to, when parents have to love their children. They don't really get a choice. They have to love their kids. And it's this I assume, I don't know, I don't have any, but I assume it's this undeniable feeling and they just can't ever change that.
Yeah.
I think with it's a partner where you don't have technically this obligation to them because they're not your dependent, it's a different kind of love in a love that you choose.
Yeah.
And a love that you want to choose every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that's more the question, is that it's not so much about is love enough, is it do you choose to love that person even when it's hard?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like, it makes sense in what you're saying. I guess, like, to wrap up the question at hand of, like, believing whether love is enough when things get hard, it's like you're saying, love in itself may not be exactly enough, but the choice that you're making to love that person is what makes it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Do
you think love's enough?
No, I don't think that love is enough. I think that I agree with what you're saying in that if you choose that person every day, despite whether it be their flaws or just a actual difficult time that they're experiencing or you're experiencing together, whatever it may be. But I don't think that the love that you have for somebody is enough to always get you through everything.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that it's not just the love, it's the choice. And it's not, I guess, choosing to love somebody despite it, but it's the choice of going, is this what I still really want? And so I choose love.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also being able to, I think it's also the individual person so, like, let's take, because obviously there could be a million scenarios and where this thought may be raised, but if you're going to take one specific scenario in that potentially maybe that person is going through a really difficult time personally and they're not showing up for you every day in the way that maybe they have been, and that's now taking a toll not only on them, it's taking a toll on you, and therefore it's taking a toll on the relationship. If you know that the person that you have chosen to go through life with is strong enough and values not only their life but also the life that you've committed together to pull through and to try to dig themselves out of whatever it is that they've gotten themselves into and show up every day to try to be the best versions of themselves where they can, then you're sort of choosing that person regardless, like, despite it. But if that is occurring and you can sort of, this has been going on for X amount of months or however long it's been going on for, and you still love the person, but you're not seeing any change, then that love is not enough.
Yeah, I think, and do you know what? I think this is one thing that marriage has changed, is that I probably would have said before. So I think it's understanding, were they always this way and now it's starting to annoy you, because then you need to choose the people that you choose the person that you choose to marry a lot more careful. Because I think, like, if, sometimes people get into their relationship, and this is once again why marriage is seen as a bad thing, is they get married really early on in the relationship. 5 years later, they realize that I married somebody hoping that they would be a better version of themselves, and that never changed, and now I'm stuck with someone because I thought that they would get better over time, and they haven't, and now the person that I did marry never changed, and I don't want to be with that person. I want to be with the person who I thought he was going to be in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
That's completely different. I think you just made a bad decision on who you chose to marry. You were hopeful that that person was going to change. And really, when you choose to marry someone, you need to marry them knowing that if they are this person for the next 10 years, will I be happy?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the first thing. But I think that the second thing is, if I was dating someone and going through this, I would probably say no, love's not enough.
Okay.
Where my view has now changed with marriage is I made a vow. I have made a vow to Joe that, and we didn't use these words, but without using our actual vows, for better or worse, I choose you every single day. And I got married knowing that this is something that is really important to me. I'm not just getting married so that I can wear a ring and have a different last name and say that that's my husband. I got married knowing that I am willing to commit the rest of my life to this person because he's my favorite person in the whole world and I love him to bits. But I have to make a conscious decision to go, if things get really fucking shit, I have made a conscious decision to stand by you. Where there's a caveat to that is if you have maliciously hurt me, so you've cheated on me or whatever it might be, then that's a bit of a caveat. But if Joe is, or the person that I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with, is going through a hard time, I think if you have made a vow to be with that person, then that is the commitment that you've made, and I guess you have to see it through until unless you're both absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
And then I think that there needs to be a line in the sand. But if it's a tough spot and there's just no light at the end of the tunnel right now, I think that's where your vows come in.
Yeah.
And, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wouldn't have agree with that. Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that view before.
Yeah.
But after getting married, that's a commitment that I've made.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a big difference as well between loving somebody and being in love with somebody as well. Because you can have all the love in the world for somebody and care about them deeply, but being in love, I feel like that's a choice.
Yes.
That's the choice you're making, is to be in love with somebody.
And I think that's the differentiation I was trying to make between like having a child or your parents that you love.
Yeah.
And then there's somebody that you choose to be in love with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, and maybe this is just my perception, but sometimes the sanctity of marriage, and don't get me wrong, because I'm not super religious at all, I also haven't done everything that marriage is meant to do. Like, we lived together before we got married and all those bits and pieces. But I did not take the decision to get married lightly.
Yeah.
And that meant that, the vows that I've taken, for better or for worse.
Yeah. I love that. Love it. Okay. Do you think you need to feel 100% certain with zero doubts before getting married?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Sorry,
I was just going to say, like, if you're having doubts, then
they're never going to go away.
Yeah.
And I think once again, this is going back really old school, but you think about the movies that we used to watch in the 90s, and they used to be like, it's good to have nerves on your wedding day, or cold feet, or whatever it might be. You should be 100% gun to head. This is the best decision that I can make.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I was nervous on my wedding day, but not one part of those nerves was about making the right decision. I was nervous about, was my hair going to look good? And was my makeup? And, were they going to get the music right? And I was more nervous about making sure that this day that we had spent a whole year curating came to perfect fruition. But the moment that I saw Joe on the other end of that aisle, I couldn't care less about anything else. All my nerves went away because there was not one part of me that didn't know I was making the best decision ever. And I don't think if you can't wholeheartedly say, once again, I love them for who they are right now, and if that never changes, I will be so happy and I will have no regrets. Do not marry them.
Don't marry them.
Don't do it.
Marriage will make us closer, yes or no?
Yeah, I think it will. I think Joe and I have loved this whole husband and wife thing. Like, and it feels really special, and it feels very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what's the word?
I'm not too sure what you're looking for, but
I don't know what you're looking for.
But let me offer you a counter word. No, but I was going to say, like, even though it's obviously getting married is not a unique thing, people have been doing it for centuries.
Yeah.
But I think it still, regardless, feels personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I love having the same last name. Like, I feel like we've always been a family. Like, you know, once again, being together for so long and having 2 dogs and a home, we've always been a family. But having the same last name, you do feel so connected to that person. Being able to say my husband and my wife has been really, really sweet. And I don't know, even though, like, legally we are in it together, but I think just taking that next step, even though nothing's really changed, it does make you feel like you're one little person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool.
Cute.
Yeah.
Love or commitment? Which matters more? I think this sort of goes into
Commitment.
what you were saying before.
Yeah.
Hardest year will be the first, true or false?
It depends on where you get married, like how far into your relationship. Once again, I don't think it has anything to do with marriage. I think it has everything to do with the person that you are marrying, your expectations of what marriage is, and what you've already discovered and conquered in your relationship. I would say typically if you got married after a year or 2 years and you haven't had to go through anything difficult and you are only just starting to move in with each other and all of those things, I would say, your first year is probably going to be the really difficult because it's going to be the most life altering.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the biggest contrast.
Yeah. Or even people who choose to have a baby immediately after getting married, which obviously, like, there's no wrong or right, but that ultimately is going to make your first year
100%.
a really challenging year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you didn't choose the right person, fuck. That's going to be a rough year.
It's not even just going to be a rough year.
I do really think it depends on, like the circumstances, your expectations, and that person that you chose to marry. I can't foresee, and obviously touch wood because I hope that this next year is great, but I can't see this next year being a challenge at all for Joe and I, not because of the marriage, but because I don't foresee anything in the next year coming up that's going to challenge us.
Yeah.
In ways that we haven't already been challenged in our relationship, and we know how to overcome things.
Yeah. And things that are within your choice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose the biggest question of all that everyone's waiting for is, are you ready or just willing?
I wasn't even willing. I was coerced. Ready. So ready. And I'm not going to lie and say, I didn't care when we got married.
Yeah.
Joe is obviously somebody I love very much. And there was lots of years prior to when we got married that I was like, I can't wait for him to propose.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this to happen. But when I look back on our wedding day and I look back on the commitment that we made that day, and we got to have 2 weddings, which was really cool. But I'm just so happy that we did it when we did it.
Yeah.
Because we were just in the perfect stage, not only in our lives, but in our relationship, that it just felt so right. And once again, I probably would have been happy if we got married after 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. But I look back on that day and I look back on that commitment that we made and I go, I'm so happy we did it when we did it.
Yeah.
Because there's not one part of me that doesn't think that it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. Love it.
Love it.
So we got a final question for the darlings. Knowing what you know now, what's one piece of advice about getting married that you would give to yourself or others?
One? I have so many.
If you had to choose one out of the so many.
I think... Oh my God. I think you need to look at what you want your life to look at. I think you need to understand what you want your life to look like. And if, once again, the person that you are choosing to marry in that moment, not what you think they could be in 5 years' time, but in that moment, you don't think is going to give you the life that you want. And obviously you need to play a part in that. But if you go right now, this person isn't the person that is going to give me everything that I need in life, if nothing changes, then I don't think that you should marry that person. And I think just from my experience, I see that a lot in that people that get married, whether they get married after a year or they get married after 10 years, is the ones that are unhappy are the ones that have compromised on what they want because they love this person, or they compromise and going, they're not what I want right now, but I think they could be in this amount of time. And then that just never comes. So I think that probably my biggest word of advice is look about what you want your life to look like. And if you can't see it being that way with this person, if they never change, then you're never going to be happy.
Yeah. It's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. This wasn't part of the pre-written questions, but I think it's an interesting point of, and obviously this goes without saying, of like whether you're married or not, because not everyone gets married. But when it comes to making the decision to have children, if that's the route that you do go down, especially when you are dating older, like when you're older, what's your viewpoint on if you're, so say for instance, you're in your late 20s, early 30s, or the early 30s and beyond, and you're beginning to date somebody, and that person is really set on having children, like that is what they want in life, through and through. There's no ifs and buts about it. And you're somebody that is, I'm a little bit unsure. I don't not really know if that's what I want for my life. What piece of advice would you give for somebody who may be navigating something like that?
Am I giving advice to the person that really wants the kids and they're dating somebody that doesn't want them? Or am I on the other side?
I think it could
go either way.
Either way.
So when I think it is important to take into consideration age, because when I first started dating Joe, I was 21 years old and I didn't want kids.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of us took that too seriously, because there's not a lot of 21-year-olds that are like, I can't wait to have a child.
Yeah.
And as our relationship has gone on, we have both changed our mind. We've both gone, actually, I don't think I want to have kids. Yes, I do want to have kids. No, I don't. And we're still very, very unsure. But if you are in your 30s, I would say that what you want is probably what you want.
Yeah.
Because I think at that age, you should really understand what you need. In terms of navigating it, I think obviously communication is so important, and I think it's so important to be upfront in what you want, but maybe even understanding why you do or you don't want something. And it's really hard because I haven't been in this situation, but I would say you need to be so clear, but I think it could be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
If somebody is hellbent that I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I'm having a child, whether it's with you or without you, and you're on the fence, I think you need to be really empathetic that you don't want to waste theirs or your time.
Yeah.
But also if you're like, I think I could change my mind, I think you need to understand why do you have the reservations about having children? Because if you really look at the reasons why, you can probably tell whether you're going to change your mind or not.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think for a lot of people, it's just like they just haven't met the right person.
Yeah.
And then if you meet the right person, it's like, oh, now I can see myself falling into that. Or you're really deep into your career and you're like, I just can't see myself stepping out of this career. But if you were like, I have no desire to be a mother, or I have no desire to be a father, or I have a lot of trauma from my childhood and I haven't figured out, you know, and I don't think I would be a healthy mother or whatever it might be. I think the reason behind it could probably give you a clearer answer of whether you're going to change your mind or not. But I think if you're tapering on a side that doesn't coincide with the person that you're dating, I think you're both just wasting your time, because you don't want to make a decision for somebody else, but you don't, have a child or not have a child if that makes you unhappy, but you don't want someone else to have to compromise for you either.
Yeah, especially with something so big like having a child, because it's not even just for instance, obviously getting married is such a big thing and it is such a big commitment that you're making to that individual. And it's also like just the legalities of it. Like, it's not an easy thing to go, well, I want to get a divorce. Like, it's not as simple as that. No. However, it is something that's doable. Like, if that's the decision that you end up making later in life, but having a child is a commitment for life. So it's something that, like you were saying, you can't really compromise on that, whether it be one way or the other. I was watching a movie a little while ago, and it was about two people who were dating when they were older, and the guy's trying to have a conversation with the girl, and they were really fresh about like whether they want kids, and she got real freaked out about it. And he made a really good point, and he said, I'd rather have an awkward conversation now than to have to make a really hard decision later.
100%. Because
like once you're in it deep with somebody and then that conversation gets brought up again and you're not on the same page, you are making a really hard decision, because it's either you compromise on something that you're really unsure of, or you're already really set on, or you have to leave somebody that you do love.
Yeah, I remember watching, this was years ago, but on like YouTube, there was this couple, and after 8 years they had split because one wanted a child and the other one didn't. And they knew that going into the relationship. And I think that they both thought that each other was going to change their minds. And this comes back to my advice is that if you can't see yourself being with that version of that person, including their value set and everything that they want in life, you're not going to be happy. And it was really sad, because I remember saying to whoever I was talking to at the time, being like, it was the hardest breakup to watch, because it wasn't that they didn't love each other anymore. Yeah. They just both couldn't compromise on their values.
Yeah.
But once again is that, you need to, you can't wait for somebody to change their mind.
No. Yeah.
Or change who they're going to be, or change their values, because chances are it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And that could go the same with marriage as well. Some people are really set on wanting to get married, and some people are really set on that they never want to get married.
Yeah.
And that could be a major make or break.
Yeah.
But yeah. Love it.
Love it. Well, that was a deep little epi, wasn't it?
Yeah. Something that was actually meant to be a little bit lighthearted and fun.
Yeah.
There was some deeper conversations there.
Marriage is serious.
Very serious.
Very serious. All right. Well, that's it for today's ep.
Yes, and thanks for chilling with us on the couch. We will see you same place, same time, more yaps.
Stay comfy, darlings.